Hi there, welcome to the Sparks channel. Let's work on this IEB question paper. So this is question 3 and the one asks, okay, we are given f at x which is 1 over x and they want you to determine the average gradient. So now what I need you to remember is that the average gradient, the formula for the average gradient. So I'm just going to call this M average. So the average gradient is equals to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So what we need to do is to find the corresponding y values, because now we are given x1 and x2. So we have x1 and x2. So maybe I can say this is my x1, this is my x2. When they say in the interval, if I draw the number line, this is my 1 and this will be my 3. So let's find the corresponding y values. So first thing first, let's find f at 3 and see what we get. So f at 3, meaning that on the original equation where there's x, we can substitute 3. So this will be 1 over 3. So the coordinates for this, the coordinates will just be the x value, which is 3, and the corresponding y value of 1 over 3. So now that we have the first coordinate, we need to find the second coordinate, which is f at 1, which will be 1 over 1, which is 1. So the coordinate this side will be 1 and 1. Right. So now that I have my coordinates, I need to name my coordinates so that I can know what is my x1, what is my y1. So if this is okay, let's name our coordinates so that we can know. Let's say this is my x1. Okay, I think it's best if we start by saying I'm very sorry about that. Okay, let's quickly work on this. I'm very sorry about that. So my coordinates is 1 and 1. So now I know that my x1, we said it's 1 and this will be my y1. Then the second coordinate is 3 and 1 over 3. So this will be my x2, y2. Everything is good. Now we can do the substitution. Remember we said the average gradient, the formula that we use for average gradient, is equals to y2 minus y1 and everything divided by x2 minus x1. So let's do the substitution, because already we know that our y2 is 1 over 3 minus my y1, which is just 1. Everything is divided by x2, 3 minus x1, 1. So if you work on this, the top part will just give you minus 3 over minus 2 over 3. So this is minus 2 over 3, everything divided by 2. Right, we can just work this thing out and say this is minus 3 minus 2 over 3. We can multiply, remember this is over 1, by the reciprocal of that, and this gives us the final answer as negative 1 over 3. But now, if you don't want to make mistakes, you are more than welcome to punch your calculator when you get to that step. You are more than welcome. And ladies and gents, this is how we find the average gradient for this problem. Okay, let's move to the next problem. Let's check what we have on the next problem. They want us to determine from first principle, determine f prime. Remember, we have f at x, which is just 1 over x, and they want us to find f prime. So if you still remember f prime for the first principle, the definition says that f prime is equal to the limit as h approaches 0, and then we need to find f at x plus h, then we subtract our f at x. Everything is divided by h. So now the most important thing that we need to do first is to find our f at x plus h. Meaning that on the original equation where there's x, we put x plus h. This will give us 1 all over x plus h. Right. So now we can just substitute everything on the equation. We can just substitute everything on that equation. Let's see what we get if we do the substitution. So the limit as h approaches 0. Now I know that my f at x plus h, I need to substitute that as 1 all over x plus h. Then we subtract f at x, which is 1 over x. Then everything is divided by h. So I think now you can see that the top part, we need to work out on the top part. We need to work out on the top part first before we do the substitution and stuff. Let us find the LCD. So now look at this. I have 1 over x plus h. Then I subtract 1 over x. What is my LCD? Lowest common denominator is the product of my denominator. So it will be x multiplied by x plus h. I just multiply my denominators. So I take this guy, multiply with that, and I have my LCD. So now that I have my LCD, I need to first multiply the first term by LCD. So what I'm trying to say is that I need to take my x into x plus h, multiply the first term, which is 1 over x plus h. Close the bracket, I have a negative, and apply the same thing that I did on that term by multiplying by my LCD. So I need to also multiply the 1 over x. So remember, after multiplying by LCD, we have to divide everything by that LCD, because this is an expression. It's not like when we multiply both sides, left hand side and right hand side. So this is what we call an expression. So we need to divide by that LCD. Okay, so when we divide by LCD, this is what we have. So let's look at the top part. What we have here, the terms that are common will cancel. The x plus h and x plus h cancels. This side, the x and the x cancels. Then you need to take this x, multiply it with that 1. You need to take the x plus h, multiply with that 1. Just in case the term was not 1, but in this case we know that we will just have the x this side, and then minus, this will be inside the bracket. I'll have x plus h, because I'm just multiplying this term here by 1. Please make sure that you put it inside the bracket, because I think now you know that the bracket will, we need to multiply out the bracket by that negative. I hope that makes sense. So everything is divided by x into x plus h. So now if we simplify this by multiplying out the bracket with the negative, I'll have x minus h, and everything is divided by x into x plus h. Right. So now I think it's also best, I think this will also work best if we just do all the substitution here after this step. So it's best if we say this is the limit as h approaches 0, and then we said we have x minus into x plus h, and everything is divided by our LCD, which is x into x plus h. And now remember, everything is also divided by h. So now if we simplify, this will be the limit as h approaches 0. The top part, we know that these 2x will cancel. Just to save time, I'll write this as minus h over x into x plus h, and everything divided by h. So we can simplify this and say this will be the limit as h approaches 0 minus h over x into x plus h. We can multiply this by the reciprocal. Remember, this is over 1, right? Which will be minus 1 over h, so that the h can cancel. So now we don't have a space, but it's fine. We'll just work this thing out. We'll just create a space. So now I think since everyone understand where this coming from, we can remove this part. Let's remove that so that we can complete our solution. So now everything is good. Look at what we have so far. This is the limit as h approaches 0. Then what I'm going to do is that I can write this as negative 1 over what? Negative 1 over x into x plus h, if we substitute this. So now that we know that the reason we did the limit is because if we do the direct substitution, this gives us over 0. Now look at this. We won't get over 0. We can substitute, and when we substitute, we need to drop this limb. When you substitute, you draw the limb. You drop it. So this is equals to minus 1 over, where there's h, we need to put 0. So this will be x into x plus 0. Then what is the final answer? Is just 1 over x squared, which is negative. So the answer is negative 1 over x squared. So please make sure that you go through all the process. Make sure that you go and revise fractions. Know how fractions work, especially when it comes to finding LCD and multiplying every term with LCD. And that's it for this question. Then you're going to collect your 5 marks. So let's move to the next one. Let's see what we have on the next one. Determine the following. Where necessary, leave your answer in a positive exponential form. They want us to find the derivative if y is equal to 1 minus 3x squared. So dy over dx means that we need to derive y in terms of what? Y in terms of x. So, but now let me first look at my y. This is what I have, and I know that I can't work with an equation like this. I need to first simplify it, expand the bracket, multiply out the brackets, then we can take it from there, because we can't work with an equation like this. We can't find the derivative when it's like this. Let's expand the bracket. Then 1 minus 3x. I need you to pause the lesson. Make sure that you use the FOIL method. Multiply out the bracket. Let's see if we're going to get the same answers. Okay, so now what I get, it's 1 times 1 is 1, and then I'll have 1 times minus 3 and 1 times minus 3, which is minus 6x. Then minus 3x multiplied by minus 3x gives us positive 9x squared. So if you pause the lesson and this is what you got, well done. So now what we're going to do when it's like this, therefore we can find dy over dx, meaning that now is the right time to do what? Now is the right time to derive. So the tip here is to make sure that you simplify first. You need to simplify. Do not attempt to find the derivative in this step. So they gave it to you in that form so that they check if you can do your algebra. Okay, so everything is good now. I'm just gonna find the derivative. First thing first, we know that the derivative of 1 is a constant, so the derivative is 0. So this will just be 0 minus the derivative of 6x is just 6. Then the derivative of 9, we need to bring the 2 down, multiply that with 9, and then this will be x to the power 2 minus 1, because remember the derivative of this is equal to the n comes down. We multiply that n with the coefficient of x, and then this will be x to the power what? This will be x to the power n minus 1. So that's the derivative. So now the final answer will be dy over dx. It's equals to minus 6 plus 18x. So this is your derivative. Okay, let's check if we still have the answer, because this has to be out of 14 marks. I'm sorry, the next question. Let's check if we have the next question. And yes, we do have the next question. Let's work on that one. So even this one, we have what we, and remember, they said we should leave our answer in a positive such form, or positive, they said positive exponential form. Okay, so Even this one, you still have to first work it out. But when you work out, you keep your dx. You only drop the dx when you start deriving. So let's work on this. Inside the bracket, I have x minus 8 and everything divided by x squared. So the reason I said go and revise fraction, I know that if I have a minus b over c, I can write this as a over c, then put that minus and say b over c. That's the law I'm going to apply here. I'm going to write my dx to be, I can take my x and say this is over x squared minus 8 over x squared. So remember, before we do the derivative, we need to work out what? We need to remove the fraction. So here, we know that we can apply the law that says we are dividing the same base. If I have a squared over b squared, a squared over a squared, not b squared, no? So that the base are the same, what do we do to the exponent? We subtract the exponent. So this is a over a to the power 3. This will be a to the power 2 minus 3. That's the law I'm going to work out. This will be x to the power 1 minus 2 multiplied by 8. Remember that I'm trying by all means to remind you the basics and the laws. So if I have 1 over x to the power n, this can be written as x negative n. So we can write this as a negative exponent. This is the law that I'm going to use. I can write that x to the power negative 2 because this is 1 over x squared. Okay, everything now is good. When it's like this, we can just work out that part and say this is x to the power minus 1. Okay, this is x to the power minus 1 multiplied by 8 or minus 8x to the power minus 2. Now we can start finding the derivative. So I'm just going to drop my dx because I'm going to derive x to the power minus 1. The minus 1 comes here to be minus x to the power minus 1 minus 1, which is minus 2. Then minus, this will be 8 multiplied by 2x to the power negative 2 minus 1. So when it's like this, this will be, we know that 8 times 2 is 16. Everything now will start to make sense. This is 16. When I say everything will start to make sense, I'm referring to the instruction that they gave us, saying that we should leave our answer in a positive exponential form. So this, we can't leave this as negative 2. So we need to say this is minus 1 over x squared. We are reversing this law. If our exponent is negative, we can write it as 1 all over everything positive. So now this will be minus, look at this, 16. I have this as x to the power minus 3. So the x to the power minus 3, it's 1 over everything without the negative. So this will be 16 over x to the power 3. Then you have successfully solved the problem and you're going to collect your 3 mark. Okay, so thank you very much for watching the lesson. If you enjoyed the lesson, please make sure that you hit the subscribe button, like and comment. So please subscribe so that you don't miss the next lesson.